Dysmantle. Easy on the wallet, but is it worth your time?
We get super into the DIY demolition market in order to find out here on Broke and Gaming.
Welcome, absolutely everyone, to Broke and Gaming. I'm your host, Shea.
I am your other host, Dan, and I absolutely meant to say Dragon Quest when I said Dragon Age in the last episode. Just want to put that out there right now. I listened back after we recorded, realized I'm a big dumb idiot. So, hi, how's it going? Hey, Shay, what have you been playing recently?
Well, neither Dragon Quest nor Dragon Age.
Oh, so, what a shame.
I know. I have been on my bullshit again of playing 40 minutes of 83 games.
Yeah.
So I started playing Oblivion, the predecessor to Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. It's pretty solid if it didn't look like a graphics abortion.
It's been a very long time since I played Oblivion, but I do remember it having a better story overall than Skyrim. But yeah, it did not age great in terms of graphics. How do you like it so far? I mean, I know you're a giant Skyrim fan, so
I am a huge Skyrim fan. It's really hard to look at, which is taking away a lot of the experience for me.
Yeah.
That being said, it is, how do I put this? Not as gray as Skyrim is, which has been a welcome change.
Yeah. Shelf life wise, Skyrim has been around
fucking forever
without having a new installment, I guess is what I mean to say, because I do not count online, because fuck all that jazz. It's been out for much longer than either Morrowind or Oblivion in terms of the next installment. And yeah, with Skyrim being so bleak in comparison to those other two, it's crazy, because like I do love Skyrim, but like it is very snowy everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Even the caverns, a lot of the time, it's like, all right, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I love variety in a game. Like, not to say that Skyrim isn't great, but like that is the one glaring issue, is that like everywhere you go, it's snowy.
Yeah, and in Skyrim, you can tell that they knew that when they put out the DLC for it, because those are very different places from the rest of Skyrim. But speaking of bullshit, Dan, I have, ironically enough, also been playing ESO.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I jumped back into it and made a new character, forgot how fucking awful that game is, and quit after, again, 40 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they've done so much to expand on it. Like, there are so many expansions. What's the most recent one? I don't care. I don't look, I'm not an online fan. I don't care for, like, the only one I've played from Bethesda was 76 because it was free. And I'm like, it's been a while since I've done some Fallout stuff. Let's go ahead. And I fucking hated it so much.
Yeah.
And, like, it's a good concept for a game. Like, to have it be that early on before everything goes, like, fully to shit. It was an interesting way to present it. It's just, you could have other players steal your fucking stuff or trash your homestead or whatnot. And I can't stand shit like that.
Yeah. At this point, I think Elder Scrolls Online is more of a living lore than a game.
I'll give you that, yeah.
I think they're probably testing where they want to put Elder Scrolls 6 in terms of like land area. But ESO, I think, has been out for 8 years and has seemingly covered every single part of the world of Elder Scrolls. So like maybe we can start working on 6 now instead of just shilling ESO content.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Anyway, aside from every other Elder Scrolls game out there, I've also been playing a shit ton of NHL 23.
Yeah.
Because the real life NHL season started and I love hockey.
Yes.
And since my favorite team is not good this year, I am running a franchise where they're the best team in the league by about 15 games.
Your favorite team being?
Philadelphia Flyers.
That is right. So I have I've been waiting for this moment to tell you about this. Listener of the show, Brian Craig, his wife Samantha was pied in the face by Gritty. I will send you the video immediately after we are done here.
That's
it
fucking
is
awesome.
Incredible. They did like a fun run kind of thing that Gritty was at, and Gritty pied her in the face, and it is the best. Samantha Russell is one of my favorite people on the planet. She lives the most interesting life, and yeah, you're gonna fucking love this, Shay.
Very nice. For any puckheads out there, James Van Riemsdyk is leading the NHL in points in my franchise mode. So
hey. I can't even express how little that means to me.
Well, he's not a player that would ever lead the league in points. Let's put it that way.
That is the exact context I needed.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing. What about you, Dan?
I have finished Spider-Man 2, and Shay, holy fuck, it is so good.
Yeah, you sent me a picture of the altar that you built to Spider-Man 2.
That's right.
In your closet, a la Helga Pataki.
Yes, I will be naming all of my children after the characters in the game. Yeah, no, it's so fucking good. And I had said to you, it may be as close to a perfect franchise as I've played. Like, these 3 games as a unit are so fucking clean, fun, everything. Like, the only thing is, the nerds hate the fact that they changed character details, but like...
Oh, God. Fuck out of here.
Right, well, yeah.
Are you having fun or not? Like...
Well, the thing is, they've established that the multiverse is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Miles Morales came out of a different universe. Like, he got folded into the standard 616, but he started off in the Ultimate Universe, which wasn't the same canon anyway. So, like, who gives a shit? Now, with the movies of the Spider-Verse stuff, which there's a direct reference to in the game, which is awesome. Like, all bets are off. Anybody can be anybody. It doesn't make a difference. People die. People don't die.
Yeah.
Origins are flipped around. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just good. It's a really good fucking game.
Have you played on Noir mode?
I played it a little. I played with Spider-Man Noir a little bit.
There's a way that you can change the brightness and contrast to make the entire world black and white, which I think is really cool.
It is a very cool concept.
I would get tired of that after about 30 seconds, but it's cool that they put that in.
It's legit only for like taking a couple photos of Spider-Man Noir swinging around and then fucking with a Rubik's Cube, and then you just go back to the regular gameplay.
Yeah.
But I ended up realizing that I did things out of order because the next game I played was Gotham Knights, which is like a much worse version of that type of game.
Yeah.
I talked to you about this a little bit, and I've warmed up to certain aspects because after a while you unlock different traversal things for each of the 4 characters. For those of you who don't know, in Gotham Knights you play as the 3 Robins that are not Damian Wayne, who's dog shit, and then the worst Robin, and Batgirl. You can switch between the 4 of them, and each one has their own power sets and skill trees and whatnot, and they all have different traversal methods. I don't really like Red Hood as a character.
I thought Red Hood...
Like Jason Todd is.
I could have sworn that you said that Jason Todd was your favorite Robin.
Oh, no. Tim Drake, far and away, is my favorite Robin. Jason Todd is whatever. I like him about equally to Dick Grayson. Damian can fuck right off a cliff. But
you know why I think Damian Wayne sucks? And not to turn this into a comic book podcast, but
no, that's the spinoff. Broke and Reading, I think.
Sure. Damian Wayne is not his own character. He's Batman's mistake. You know what I mean? So like he doesn't really have anything compelling about him. It's all how does he relate to Batman? Just
anger, right. And like they expanded it a little bit when they did him in like the Teen Titans and stuff like that, where he was able to kind of like be his own person. But yeah, he's just not in the game, thankfully. At least not any part that I've been in. A big part of it hinges on the League of Assassins, so there's always a chance that he'll pop up. But Batman is dead again. at least now.
Sure.
He might pop up at the end of this as well. The thing that they did right in this game is that they focused on specific villains as opposed to here's everybody at once, like the Arkham games did. So you're pretty much only dealing with 5 as a whole, and that's Mr. Freeze, Clayface, Harley Quinn, and then the Court of Owls and the League of Assassins. And that's it, which I think is a really smart way to play things.
Doug, can I tell you how stupid I think the Court of Owls is?
I love it. I think it's one of the best stories ever to be a Batman story. Genuinely, the fact that Thomas Wayne was a part of it and that it's basically a Gotham-specific Illuminati, I think is dope. The Talons thing is whatever, because like they don't do too much in terms of supernatural things in Batman canon. Like it's more rooted in real world stuff. Mm-hmm. So like the fact that they're reanimated corpses that just do the court's bidding is like whatever. But it's really cool to see the Court of Owls in a video game. They changed a bunch of aspects about that too, which is fine. But to my surprise, I think my point earlier was Jason Todd is maybe the most fun character to play. And I would not have assumed that to be the case. Like, everybody's kind of an archetype. Batgirl is the most well-rounded. Nightwing is kind of your powerhouse. Strangely, I guess.
I mean, the rest of them are children, aren't they?
No, Tim's the only one that's, like, underage. And they mention it, like, a fucking lot.
That's weird.
Like, Penguin, who actually ends up being a sort of kind of ally because his mother's part of the Court of Owls and he wants to stop them just as much as you do, like, offers Tim a drink. And the dialogue is specific to whichever character you're playing as. And he's like, I'm not allowed. Like, it's his whole crux of his character. Like, they kind of ruined Tim Drake for me a little bit in this one. Because he's just, like, a nerd. Like, out of the Bat canon, he's the best detective out of all the Robins.
Sure.
Like, I don't want to get into a whole rant. That'll be for the other podcast. But he just kind of, like, he's just fast and stealthy.
Yeah.
But Jason Todd, Red Hood, like, is a brute that does range damage. Because he just, like, fires rubber bullets all over the place. And he can shoot in, like, all directions. It's really, really a blast to play. And that upsets me. Because I didn't want that to be the case. But here we are. Major flaw in the game. If you change characters, you lose all the blueprints for equipment and weapons. And have to re-earn them again as that character. That's stupid. So before you change the character, you have to make sure you can make everything you can, which it's shared resources.
That is supremely stupid.
It feels like a bug.
Right?
I haven't been able to find anything online that supports why they made that decision, if it was a conscious decision. But it's fucking stupid if it was. If it was a bug, they've had ample time to patch it out, and there's very little support from the studio at this point. So
yeah,
that won't be fixed.
Yeah.
So yeah, this probably won't get a sequel. It probably won't do anything, and that kind of sucks because it's been significantly more fun than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
But not as good as Spider-Man. But that's pretty much it. But we have a game to talk about today, and we will start, as we always start, with our short change history. Today we're talking about Dysmantle, which is a 2021 open-world action RPG developed and released by 10 Ton Ltd. 10 Tons was founded in Tampere, Finland in 2003, and that is basically all the information I could find out about the studio itself. This is a problem that we ran into like very early on when we were doing like really niche games. Not so much recently, but you know, what are you going to do? Some of the other games that the studio has developed have been Tesla vs. Lovecraft, Undead Horde, and Time Recoil. And earlier this year, they announced Displaced, which is a game kind of similar to the game we'll be covering today, just set in a fantasy world. Dysmantle is currently available for PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC platforms. Shea, would you like to tell us what the game is actually about?
I think so, Dan. In Dysmantle, you play as a nameless survivor, storming his way through a zombie apocalypse, collecting all kinds of resources from literally anything, and crafting weapons and equipment so he can survive the zombie hordes.
Yeah, that is kind of the main thrust of this. So I'm trying to think of how to say this without completely spoiling it right off the bat. So as you go along, the whole thing is that you're trying to build an escape pod. That takes you all over this, like, pretty large map. Like, have you zoomed fully out to see the scale of this?
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking huge.
Yeah.
It's divided up into, like, different, like, sub-areas. But as you're going to do this, you come across these fucking weird tablets that give you some sort of lore that really doesn't make sense in the early going. Kind of like a, I guess, prehistoric civilization that, like, may have come in contact with aliens. It's like weird and vague.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. So there's like this eternal king thing that was in charge and seemingly immortal, that after a while they were like, you know what? I don't know why the fuck we're listening to this guy. And they off him. Well, Shea, guess what?
That's you?
That's you.
Yeah.
You don't know it's you, but that's you. You are, and this is why, like, when you die, canonically, you just reset. There's an in-game reason for no permadeath.
Yeah.
Like, you wake up in a different place, you have all your gear, but it doesn't act like you didn't die. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why, because you are an immortal being that just happens to be in a zombie apocalypse. And also, after a while, you kind of forget that that's what you are. So the survivor being in the bunker for as long as he was, his brain just kind of turned to mush and he forgot that he was immortal.
As one does.
That's the underlining story for all of this.
Love the resolution of a game to be kind of forgot that I was immortal. Love that.
Yeah, it's the best. Okay, so now with that out of the way, gameplay-wise, what do you think?
So, I am a noted hater of inventory management in survival games. And
yeah.
While I wouldn't call this game a survival game by any stretch, it is annoying. So, in the game, you can basically destroy and collect everything, right?
Yes. As you improve your equipment, you can go from, like, being able to take down bushes and trees to whole ass houses.
Right.
After a while, you can literally just turn everything into one big plane.
Right. I hate that, like, the main mechanic of this game is, like, discouraged because of inventory management.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
The fact that I can destroy everything and there comes a point where I'm just like, I don't care to, is kind of annoying to me.
Yeah, because after a while you just get into a loop of like, all right, I will take down this whole building.
Yeah.
I'll fill my inventory. I'll go drop things off. And then you're just running back and forth for however many times it takes to do that.
I don't remember if there's fast travel in this game, Dan.
There is.
Is there?
But not at the point that you had gotten to.
Yeah, you have to, like, resurrect these radio towers or something like that, right?
Yes, exactly that.
So I got a couple of them, and I don't know. It's just, like, not convenient to do anything in this game.
Yeah, there's so much running back and forth.
Yeah. That being said, like, the actual action sections of this game, I really, really liked.
Yes.
Like, the resource scavenging was really fun. The, like, trying to find ways to sneak around these zombies. And as you kind of find new ones, like, trying to figure out what are you able to do to kind of beat these guys with your slowly expanding arsenal of items and weapons and stuff like that. That was all really cool. It was just a constant running back and forth. Not to, attack Skyrim again, but looking at you, Skyrim. This is a trend that you set.
There is definitely a straight line that could be drawn between the two.
Yeah.
Even to the point of, like, building a homestead.
Yeah.
Like, there's a point in the game where you are given, like, this is maybe like 5 or 6 hours into the game. They're like, oh, hey, you stumbled upon this thing. Let's now go through a whole new tutorial about how to build a house. And I'm like, oh, this is an odd point to do this. Why would you not have at least started this in the first town I was in?
Right.
Where it was already relatively barren. Like,
right.
I could have set up shop there. it was dead center of the map. Wouldn't that have made the most sense? No, you want me all the way on the far right side of the map? Great, love that.
There were a lot of choices that they made in this game that were just frustrating, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like this game had so much promise and delivered on a good bit of it, but like the parts where they, like, the hits were hits and the misses were fucking misses, you know?
It's like the longest tech demo I've ever played. Like, there's so much that could be applied to another game, and I'm wondering how much of this carries over into their next game.
Yeah.
Because the spelling being so close, like, I feel like this is like a soft sequel.
I was gonna say, I would say it's probably a successor rather than a sequel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it'd be really cool to learn from their mistakes and expand upon them, because it looks like there's more of an emphasis on actually, like, the homesteading part of it. There's farming, there's whatever in Displaced, that it's there in Dysmantle, but like it's so scattershot and really not all that important.
Yeah.
Like, at one point, because I couldn't be bothered to get all the resources that I needed to actually make my one place be one place, I was like, all right, up north, I've got my sawmill, because that's around the most trees and it's already pre-built. Great. That's there. I've got my smelting area in a completely different part of the map. I would set them up as close to the fast travel points. Plus, it's all time-based. Like, if you were to try to make wood planks, there's like a little time bar that just ticks down. And the more sophisticated the type of wood that you're trying to work with, the longer that takes. And you could, like, take a nap at a campfire and it'll produce that amount in that amount of time or whatever. But, like, I just found it more efficient to drop wood off at the mills, get that done, fast travel over to a different part of the map, do that stuff, and just kind of do things in a cycle.
Yeah.
Than all of my eggs in one basket and then just, like, hang out.
Yeah.
But there's really not an efficient way to do it anyway, is what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I wanted to save this for pros and cons, but, like, when you have a map that's that big, you really need to, like, the emphasis can't be on crafting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really need to pace your game a lot better than they did in Dysmantle if you're going to have a map that is that big. There, I hate to, like, rag on this mechanic in literally every game I play, but, like, you can't have time-based stuff in a massive open world. You know what I mean?
Not one that's this punishing. And especially if everything relies so heavily on crafting those pieces of equipment. Like, Skyrim hits exactly where it needs to. Where it's like, if you're crafting armor, it's basically just enough to just load that into your inventory. That's it. That's all you're waiting. Whereas with this, like, if I do with the smelting stuff, when you're doing actual machine parts and things like that, or like different ores and what have you, it could take like 30 minutes to clear out a smelting chamber.
Yeah.
If you drop enough stuff in it. That's absurd. Like, that's...
Well, then you're just dicking around, you know? Yeah. You're not really enjoying the game or exploring where you want to. You're waiting for something to finish. Yeah. And it's just irritating.
And it uses that time mechanic of, like, a second equates to a minute in real time.
Yeah.
And, like, that's fine, but if you're only really concerned with the night and day cycle in that particular case, like, then it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't translate to how long it's going to take you to cut wood or smelt or whatever, or grow crops is another thing. Like, that's another thing that they make you wait on.
Yeah.
And when things are conditional to, like, you can't do this specific thing unless you grow 20 carrots. And I'm like, well, then then just fucking have it be an instantaneous thing. Yeah. Why am I bothering? Whatever.
Yeah. I think the difference between, and obviously it's apples and oranges comparing this game to Skyrim, but I think the difference between this game and Skyrim is that the material collection was important, but because the crafting was instantaneous, the emphasis became about traversal.
Yes.
And the emphasis is not on traversal in this game. The emphasis is on the crafting, and it sucks because the world is so big that you have to go to these far-flung places and then all the way back, and then you have to just fuck around while your shit is cooking, basically.
Yeah, it's a false game lengthening mechanic.
Yep.
It's the thing that I feel collectively have harped on the most when it comes to these kind of games.
That's probably true. So yeah, I have long been an opponent of like inventory management, combinable items kinds of games, but like I just fucking hated a lot.
I don't mind it being an aspect. Like,
yeah,
I think it brings some flavor into certain games to just be able to like, oh, I found this recipe for this thing. This will help me out in the long run.
Yeah.
But it's not completely reliant. Whereas with this game, in order to progress, you have to find 75 iron in order to upgrade your axe, to be able to clear this fence, to be able to like...
That's
great, but like, I would much rather scavenge than create materials. If it's like, all right, so these materials are all out there, just go collect them.
Yeah.
Like they do in Fallout, like more so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool with that. But if you're like, all right, so the only way to do this is to build a smelter, which takes time, and then you drop the materials into the smelter, which is going to take time, and then you have to refine that from that point once you have the ores to get these parts, which is going to take an additional amount of time. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I have no problem if that is what your game is. If it's an RTS thing where like everything is time-based, moving units from one place to another, building, this building, and that is the core of your gameplay, fine. But to drop that into an open world RPG where you're just running around waiting for the things to happen, that doesn't feel as good to me.
Yeah.
Oh man, I thought I liked this game. I still do. But like, this is a huge drawback that I don't think I took enough time to consider.
Yeah.
Fuck. I guess we should probably just get into pros and cons.
I mean, we're halfway there, baby.
Yeah. All right. So everything we just said was a con.
Yeah. Like I said, though, the parts of the game that are like where you're supposed to be doing things are very, very fun.
The actual action aspects of this are great. The different biomes that you discover and how they affect the gameplay are awesome. The variety of enemies, to your point earlier, is great. Because I do agree, like that trick of, okay, this is an entirely different thing. How do I tackle this specifically?
Right.
Is awesome. And they do that a lot in this. Did you fight any of the big fucking robot protectors at any point?
No, I didn't get that far.
Okay. You're basically just fighting a tank on foot. You have to do it 4 times to get these like battery cells to power the escape pod. And they're really fun because they made them different enough. Like there's a basic set of attacks that they do, but each one is kind of like specific to where you're at the game at that point. Of like, all right, now that you have this, it's going to rely on that, which I love shit like that.
Yeah.
That Zelda grow and learn thing.
Right, yeah. I like that too, but I guess this is another con for me. It didn't feel very balanced in this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
It took too long to learn that thing, and that's one thing if it's like a level based kind of a thing, like Omno, where like as you progress through the world, you gain new abilities. Like I like that. I hate that you like have to go back to these places that you've already been in this massive, massive world to get the same or slightly different crafting items to make these slightly different weapons that will make slightly different damage measures in the world around you.
Yeah, and there's also like a built-in thing of you have to keep track of where you see chests because you're definitely not going to be able to access them the first time you're there because you don't have the right lockpick or a strong enough sledgehammer or whatnot. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, that was just fucking irritating, having to fucking traipse back and forth just to get a different kind of tree chopped down because I needed so much wood and it was not coming from enough fences.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you have to deal with any of the the resource chests at any point? Because they don't explain the mechanic of that. You would just have to like work it out on your own. Like, did you come across any of the chests where it's like, oh, it says 21 minutes 37 seconds or whatever? Did you come across any of those?
It's not ringing a bell.
Okay, so the trick to them is you have to get from a radio tower to where the chest is in a certain time frame.
Oh, that's
but they don't tell you
stupid.
that.
Stupid.
Yeah. So you have to like mad dash to where it's at. And it's like it's good resources. Like, it's stuff that you definitely do need.
Yeah.
But they don't bother telling you that that's what it is. Because you need to get into those to get into the weird Mayan type puzzle rooms. Because there's that too.
Well, yeah, you are an ancient immortal king.
That's right.
Whatever. So.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Like, they throw so much wild bullshit into this. There's also like an area that's basically Roswell, New Mexico.
And why not?
Complete with its own Area 51 type airbase. Like, it's, yeah, this shit goes fucking crazy after a while, and you can deal with like temporal rifts. It goes so far off the rails at one point in a way that I kind of enjoyed. Like, that's actually a pro for me, because the zombie apocalypse genre has gotten stale. So like, to add all this other crazy bullshit into it, I actually do appreciate.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you have any other pros or cons, Dan?
Variety of biomes was my only other really big pro. It only sucks because you have to dress for the occasion, as it were. Like, so if you're in the desert, you can get heat stroke if you don't have cool clothes on. If you're in the northern part of the map where it's all cold, you can fucking freeze to death, and you have to have like a parka on. All things that you have to fucking craft and find recipes for. So like, great that they have those things. Sucks that I have to suffer through finding pelts and whatever, so I don't die immediately if I'm going through that area.
Yeah.
But it's kind of saying what we were already saying, but
Yeah.
also in relation to whatever.
Yeah.
Same with like gas masks. They have gas masks that you have to get in order to withstand certain areas because it's toxic. Like, kind of maybe too many versions of that specific thing, now that I'm thinking about it.
Do they have item decay in this game? I can't remember.
They do not, thankfully.
Okay. All right.
That is a thing I cannot stand in... Well, I don't mind fair decay. Like,
Yeah.
I want to say that in Fallout 4, it was maybe the perfect balance.
Yeah.
Because it didn't wear down too much, and there were so many resources all over the place that you're repairing, like, for a gun or whatever, wasn't too taxing.
Yeah.
Especially when you hoard shit like I do.
Yeah. I don't mind when a game has weapon decay or item decay or anything like that, when it's not impossible to run with the same weapon for a good stretch of the game. You know what I mean? When it gets to the point where it's like, I have to switch out my sword every 4 bad guys or whatever, and that's just how it goes, I can't fucking stand that.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's not a complaint about this game.
No.
So
that's a big saving grace, especially for a game that relies so heavily on crafting.
correct.
The fact that that's not part of it is great.
Yeah. Oblivion actually has, and not to fucking circle back to the Elder Scrolls again.
It's fresh in the brain.
Yeah, but Oblivion has weapon decay, and I think Oblivion has a pretty good weapon decay system.
Yeah.
Because, like, and we've talked about this before, so I don't want to harp on this too much, but it's, like, realistic for especially a game like Oblivion, where it's, like, fantasy bullshit, swords hacking on armor all the time.
I'm chopping at dudes with armor. Right, exactly.
Yeah. Eventually you're,
sword ain't gonna stay sharp forever.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes sense, but I hate it. So, anyway. What do you say, Dan? You wanna throw some points?
Yeah, let's throw some numbers.
All right. Up first, Dan, does it work?
I don't have any specific complaints. Controls are all pretty tight. There is a learning curve with some of the actions after a while, but nothing that's unbearable to any extent. If I died, it was my fault.
Yeah.
And that has become weirdly like
the standard. Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. Like if the game's to blame, then something's wrong. But I'm good with a full point here.
I'm gonna say a half here.
What kind of issues did you experience?
The timer, like the crafting time, doesn't work for me. I mean, like it's not that it doesn't work because it's doing exactly what it's supposed to, but it's a bad mechanic. And I don't I don't really have a place to put that. No, I guess in the next
feel
one.
engaging.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'll give it a point here. It does work.
Okay.
All right. Speaking of, Dan, is it engaging?
This is a half point for the points that we brought up as far as false lengthening. And again, it's pick crafting or pick farming. It can't really be both in this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a half.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Half point for me as well. Like I said before, the fun parts are really fun, and the fucking downtime is unbearable.
It's really rough, yeah.
It's like... Have you ever been tricked into downloading one of those idle games on your phone?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it feels like... I
have probably more than one on my phone right now.
It's got the same like vibe as that. You know what I mean? So...
Yeah, 100%. I was playing a game called Archer Forest for a while that was just that.
Yeah. All right. Up next, Dan, does it look good?
I really like the way this is designed. I think all of the environments are really, really well done. The character design, I mean, you're the only, I guess you're not technically human, but person, in the game doesn't leave too much to compare it to, but all the enemy types look awesome. It almost feels like they couldn't decide on a type of zombie they wanted to go to, and they just went with the greatest hits. Like, some of them look like the cordyceps types from Last of Us. Some look like fucking bloaters from Left 4 Dead. So, like, that's a weird thing to do. But everybody looks great. All the different enemy types are all distinct enough that you can tell what it's going to be when you're dealing with it. Yeah, this is a full point.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a point as well. I don't know why I'm not happy about it, but that's where we're at, I guess. Okay, up next, Dan, is there replayability?
No. And, like, there are things you can do for, like, no-kill runs and stuff like that, where there's different incentives you can get, but I could not fucking be bothered to do that.
Yeah, fuck that noise.
Right. Once you learn what the whole game is truly about, like, there's, I think, a reason to go back and do it again, like an in-game canon reason, and no, I'm just not going to.
Yeah.
Because I played this a couple months ago, even considering going back to it, knowing that I was looking down the barrel of, like, multiple hours of, like, hoping these fucking nails get done in a timely manner. Like, I wasn't looking forward to that either. So, no, there's not a whole lot of replayability here.
Yeah, I think you could see this opinion from a mile away, but I'm also not going to give it a point here. It was not fun the first time through. You know what I mean? And I shouldn't say not fun, but...
It wore thin pretty fucking quick.
Yeah, it was a struggle. Yeah.
Yeah. Because in the early goings, like, it doesn't take long to build anything. It's that deep game thing of, like, oh, fuck. Like, literally a half hour in my real life to craft this sucks. Yeah.
Okay, Dan. Is there a story?
I mean, yeah, but... it doesn't matter. This whole reveal of him being immortal the whole time is so inconsequential, realistically. You could have just made it, I am a survivor, I gotta get the fuck out of here, and spin it of, like, I know my family is out there, if I can only just get to them. That's all you need. Like, in this type of game, it doesn't require a story. So to add on a completely irrelevant and silly story actually makes me dock it more. So no
negative
points.
Half.
Yeah. We're going with a negative Kelsey on this. No, it's just, I mean, it's a 0. I don't care about the story. The story did not matter to the overall game itself.
You know what I hate about this story is that they made it all up just to put it on this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it would almost be better if you get to some point in the game and you meet the Immortal King instead, but there was no reason to make all of this like backstory lore bullshit just to have it be that guy, you know?
Yeah. And I think they've done stuff with DLC to make it matter more, but we only really, I mean, unless it was a package deal, we can't go by that. Like, we can only judge based on the $19.99 price tag. So,
Yep.
As a base game, no.
Yep. And speaking of that price tag, Dan, our big 5-point question, is it worth the cost?
At $19.99 across the board, like, there's a lot of time you can invest in this, but, like, is it time worth that? I don't, because, like, rather than just consider the monetary value of it, are you spending your time wisely? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for what this offers, again, this could be really good, and I can see this studio being able to learn from this particular entry. This is like a 3. It's middle of the road. Like, I had a lot of fun playing it when I was playing it. I definitely did get sucked in at certain points, like trying to unravel a mystery that ultimately I didn't give a shit about. But there are some core gameplay elements that really stuck out that I would like to see just implemented better. So 3 right in the middle of the road.
I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay.
Because Skyrim costs the same amount of money. Actually, I don't think that's true exactly, but...
It's 40. There's no way it's not 40.
You're right. Because they put the fucking anniversary edition out, they were like, we could just charge 40 for everything, right?
Yeah. Like, it'll have all the DLC, but it is 40.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Oblivion is much less than 20, so for sure retail? Go grab that. No, but Actually, I don't know. Hold on a second.
Yeah. While you look that up, if we're sticking with the 2, that's going to be 5.5 from me, 4.5 from Shea, and at that, points notwithstanding, is this something you would recommend to people?
No, because Oblivion costs $15.
There we are.
So,
timed that out as perfectly as possible.
Yeah.
I think I almost want to withhold judgment until I see what Displaced looks like.
Yeah.
Because if that's a better example, then I probably end up recommending that. There's no price listed just yet. You can put it on your wish list on Steam currently, but that is it. There's no release date as of yet. So we'll keep an eye out on it. We'll maybe revisit. Because it does just look like a similar concept, but with fucking magic in it.
Yeah.
Like, you know that it's magic from the start. Let's put it that way. Because there's definitely magic in this.
And why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, Shea, you want to play a game?
Dan, recruit and murder the tenants of a roadside inn with me as we hide their bodies from the law in a vain attempt to earn the most money we can. I would love to play a game.
Recruit and murder?
Correct. Yes. That is the Bloody Inn.
Okay.
You can recruit guests at this inn to join your criminal organization. They have different abilities, and you earn money by killing other guests and burying their bodies.
Okay. All right.
I actually really like it. It's like one of the few games that I've looked to get a physical copy of.
Yeah.
No game shops around here have it, but that's what you get for moving to Taiwan.
Yeah.
A country that would definitely have it.
I was going to say, it'd be pretty high up on the list. Anyway, so you've fallen into my trap once again, Shea, because we spent a good portion of today's episode talking about crafting, which I knew we would. And so today our quiz is about just that. So, crafting in video games was introduced way back in the 80s with King's Quest. And since then has kind of become, especially in more recent years, with the success of a couple very specific franchises that may or may not be part of today's quiz, crafting has become a mainstay. Almost half the games that come out have some element of crafting in one way or the other. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you an item that you can craft and the recipe, and you're going to tell me what game that's from.
Great. Love it.
Uh-huh. So we have 7 to go through. I don't have these in any specific order, so fuck it. We'll just do the same thing we did last episode, and I'll number them 1 to 7, and you can determine what our order is. These aren't, I didn't even bother to list them by difficulty. It's just the ones I thought of. I went, oh, that game has crafting, and then found a recipe that was unique to it.
Cool. Got to start with 4.
Number 4. Well, that would be the paddle saw, which you can make with a boat paddle and a chainsaw.
I'm not going to do very well in this quiz.
This is one of the harder ones because it is so hyper-specific to the franchise. I can tell you as a hint, crafting was not really part of the first installment in the franchise and was introduced in the second one.
I'm really tempted to say Gears of War here, but that
I could understand where you'd be coming from.
But that the paddle, believe it or not, is the part of that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that is correct. Oh, you know what I could do just for funsies? Because I'd rather give you points than not give you points. I can give you another craftable item in the game if you want.
Okay, let's do that.
All right, another item that you can craft in this particular game is the fire spitter, which is a toy spitball gun and a tiki torch.
Man, that didn't fucking help me at all.
No? All right. Basically, all of the things that you can craft, with few exceptions, are specifically weapons.
I genuinely have no idea, Dan.
All right, that's fine. Like I said, this is one of the more difficult ones because I don't know if you've ever played anything in the Dead Rising series, but this is from Dead Rising 2.
Is that the one where you have there's 4 of you? One of you
No,
is
that's Left 4 Dead.
Oh, okay. Then I have not played Dead Rising.
So the first game in that series is the one where the guy's like a cameraman and they basically just do Dawn of the Dead, I guess, where they're just in a mall. And then the second one, you're a stunt performer in Vegas that looks like Aaron Eckhart for no reason. But the whole game is just about huge hordes of zombies and just mowing them down, trying to get from point A to point B and rescue survivors.
Gotcha.
And it's a 3-day cycle.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played that game, but I definitely know about it.
They're fun.
Yeah.
They're pointless, but they're fun.
Many a zombie horde game are.
Yeah.
Let's do number 3.
Number 3. You can craft a shovel by combining sticks with wood planks or cobblestones or iron ingots or gold ingots or diamonds.
What's another thing you can craft in this game?
Literally fucking everything.
Is this the Minecraft one?
This is the Minecraft one.
Okay.
And I specifically listed it the way that I did because basically the way their crafting works is, especially when it comes to utilitarian items such as shovels, it's just the base thing plus whatever the next highest rarity would be. So
yeah.
Diamond being the most rare, that's your top level shovel.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a point. Good job.
All right. Not an O for this week.
Nope.
Let's do number 6.
Number 6 is the Moogle badge, which you can make using a blazing stone, a frost stone, a lightning stone, 5 mithril, and 3 orichalcum.
Do I have to guess which Final Fantasy this is specifically?
No.
Okay.
Because it's not.
Well, get the fuck out of here. Nobody else has Moogles.
Don't they?
Is it fucking Kingdom Hearts?
It is Kingdom Hearts.
God, this franchise just gives me more reasons to hate it every step of the way.
Oh, come on. That was kind of designed as a gimme a little bit because I knew when you say Moogle, it's going to be one or the other.
Yeah.
And I was going to give you a second crack at it either way. So yes, that is another point.
All right, let's do number 7.
Number 7, you can create some nutrients by combining a bitter bug with a blue mushroom. This is, without question, the hardest one because you absolutely have to know this franchise in order to know what a bitter bug would be from.
Can you give me something else that was crafted in this game?
Absolutely.
Not that it'll help, but,
Yeah, this isn't going to help you any more it did the last time we went with this lifeline. But you can craft a mega barrel bomb by using a great gunpowder fish scale and a large barrel.
Is this a Legend of Zelda?
It is not.
Okay. I don't know that I could ever figure out what a bitter bug is from. But...
Yeah. Okay. So this is from Monster Hunter.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I was pretty sure that you've never played, to any great extent, a Monster Hunter game. All their shit, like, this could be fucking World of Warcraft, just the way that these things are named. It's like Latchberry and Blast Nut, and it's all berries and nuts and mushrooms, and then random things from the beasts that you slay. So yeah.
Okay. I've played like 4 Monster Hunter games.
Oh, yeah?
And they're very fun for about 45 minutes, and then they're like, look at all of these systems we have for you.
Yeah. It's
and also,
super
you have to
overwhelming.
play with your friends.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan. And I want to be. Yeah. Like, I want to like it.
Right? If I like had the time to be good at games, I definitely think Monster Hunter would be one that I would sink my teeth into.
For sure.
But, yeah. Anyway, let's do number 2 next.
Number 2, you can make some crab risotto by combining any crab, Hylian rice, goat butter, and rock salt.
You'd say Hylian?
I sure did.
That's a fucking hint.
It sure is.
Yeah, I know.
You just said it.
Yeah, I was on the fence between Final Fantasy and, I don't know, literally anything else designed to trip me up here, but I think I'm going to stick to my guns here on Final Fantasy.
Oh no.
Different?
Yeah.
What? Wait. What did I just say for Bitterbug? What did I literally cannot remember what I just said.
Well.
Oh, Legend of Zelda. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
This is from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, because that motherfucker's from Hyrule.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Hylia or whatever.
Hyrule and Hylian and whatever. It's just the way it's like. It's the Hyrulean shield or Hylian shield. It just kind of depends on. If that's on me, we're giving you the point. If I wrote this down and then pronounce it wrong, which is very, 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 very possible, then we're gonna roll with it. But
I'm looking it up now.
It is Hylian, which is real annoying.
Oh, I hate that so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, shit.
Let's do number 5 next.
Okay. So this is going to be the Fortify Carry Weight Potion, which you can make using alchemy with a creep cluster and a giant's toe.
Come on, baby. You got to give me a harder one than that. By the other 5 that I've done. That's Skyrim.
Yeah, that was the easiest one.
Yeah. Literally dream about creep clusters.
Yeah. Easy peasy, Skyrim. You got it.
Yeah.
And that means our final one will be number 1. You can make Uridium sprinklers by combining a gold bar, a Uridium bar, and a battery pack.
Uridium sounds so fucking familiar. Can you tell me something else that's craftable in that game?
Yeah. You can make a bee house out of 40 wood, 8 coal, 1 iron bar, and a maple syrup.
And Kelsey cares about this game?
Yeah.
Does Kelsey care about this game recently?
We've discussed it on the show. I'm like 99.9% sure we have. You can make a cheese press out of 45 wood, 45 stone, 10 hardwood, and a copper bar.
Dan, I'm coming to the realization that you can tell me literally every other item that you can craft in this game, and I'm not going to get it. Fucking, I don't know, Stardew Valley?
That is correct. It is Stardew Valley.
Oh, fuck yes.
Oh, man.
Thank Christ.
That's right. That's going to be 4 added to the big board for today. You didn't do anywhere near as badly as you thought.
That's, well, when you
and
put
the
one...
like, I'm so tempted to, like, call a mulligan on, but, man. I think part of the problem was, like, we didn't bother to use the lifeline. Like, we just went gung-ho into, well, it's gotta be Final Fantasy.
Dan, there's a phenomenon called self-fulfilling prophecy, and
That's-
I had already given up on myself on this
right.
quiz.
That's fair. I'm very pleased with the result here. And yeah, there are so many more crafting recipes I could pull from a swath of games. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll revisit this, maybe I won't. Because guaranteed we're going to cover something that has crafting in it at some point again.
And guaranteed, we've already talked about all 4 of the games that I know about with crafting in them. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. As long as you have Ebony Sword of Fire dancing or something like that.
Just add a Skyrim one in for everyone.
Yep.
Just Elder Scrolls related somehow.
Uh-huh.
I could be really cruel and be like, this recipe only is in which Elder Scrolls game, and just go through the canon of that. But that, I don't want to spend the time researching.
Well, Daggerfall is free on Steam, so...
Hell yeah.
Dan, you know what I found out recently?
What's that?
Not to derail the end of the show any more than we already have, but the Elder Scrolls series is as old as I am.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yep. Me and the Elder Scrolls started the same year, so...
Man, oh man.
We were destined to be bonded for life.
Now I gotta figure out what games were released in my birth year. And if I have any sort of affinity toward any of them. But anyway, that is just about going to do it for us today. As always, you can follow us on social media at BNGPod on both Twitter and Instagram, where we post custom artwork for every episode, as well as sales that you should be aware of that we call cheap codes.
If you want to share the show, you can do so using our hosting site, which is anchor.fm/BNGpod. And if you want to follow us on Twitch, where I stream bi-weekly, you can do so at twitch.tv/BNGpodcast. And then after the stream, you can catch those VODs forever immortalized on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@BrokeNGamingPodcast.
If you'd like to send us an email for any reason, you can do so at brokengamingpod@gmail.com, where we take game suggestions as well as just whatever sort of criticisms about how stupid I am for saying Dragon Age instead of Dragon Quest. I know, and I'm sorry.
Well, listen, I didn't catch it real time, so...
We could have edited it afterwards. I could have ADR'd it. Who knows? But now... it's fine that people know I'm stupid. I don't mind. It's part of life, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, Shea, what are we playing next time?
Next time, Dan, we'll be playing a little game called El Hijo, a Wild West Tale. So make sure you tune in for that.
But until then, goodbye, absolutely everyone.
Goodbye. Can you tell me something else that's craftable in that game?
Yeah, but I can also tell you that right this moment, Kelsey is screaming at her car and or whatever she's listening to this on.
That's not a Fire Emblem item, is it?
Nope.
Okay. Then it's gotta be Ace Attorney.
That's right. In the gardening minigame, an Ace Attorney.